This is the introduction to task 4. I just want to take you through what this task is about before you embark upon it so that you have an understanding of where you're going. You're told that the college is a business school and it's going to be opening up hotel rooms, and that there's 4 types of rooms in the hotel which can be found in this file here, roomtype.csv. And then we've got individual rooms and we've got reservations that are made by visitors. We can just have a look at those tables. So here's our room types. You can see you've got double, twin, single and family. You've got the rooms, so these are your room numbers, the floor they're on, and then the type ID, and that links to the room type. So if you then look up type ID number 2, type ID number 2 gives you the twin room. We also have visitors. These are people who stay at the hotel. They've all got an ID number. You can see the information about them there. And then we have reservations. Now these are the reservations that are made for a room. So there's a room ID number by a visitor, and there's a visitor ID number. And all of that will be linked together using a relationships. You've got the date they made the booking, the date they're due to check in, the date they're due to check out, and whether or not there's been a deposit received and the actual value of that deposit. So let's have a quick look at those relationships, where you'll be going with this in a bit. As you can see, there are 4 tables. In the real table, real coursework, there's only 3. You don't have this extra thing about types. But if you have a look, you can see that the room ID links to the room ID in the room table. Visitor ID links to the visitor ID in the visitor table. Now everything eventually will be joined together using a menu, and there'll be a number of different things that you've got to do throughout this task. Before we continue, let's just have a look at why this has got this sort of like yellowy green background. It's because this is what you're told. You're told about the house style, and any forms that you have within your work have to conform to that house style. So there's a room reservations form, and you're told about that, and it's going to look like this. We'll just have a look at what one looks like. Okay, and you can see here you've got the room ID, the room number, what floor it's on, whether or not it's got disabled access, and a description of it which comes from the room type. You'll be creating navigation buttons like this, and for each room you can see what reservations have been made. You'll then be moving on to look at a report where you've got to show a list of all the deposits that are due, and you do it in the form of a reminder. So if we have a look at that report, this is what it looks like. Okay, if we go to print preview, we'll see it was 1 for each customer who is due to pay a deposit, and you can see it tells them about who they are and then the deposit that are due. You'll then move on to create a form that will allow you to book new reservations. So if we go back to our menu, here's our new reservations, and you can choose a check-in date. So let's say that one. You'll be able to choose a checkout date. You'll be able to choose which visitor, and from the list of rooms that are available, you'll be able to choose one of those rooms. You can see here room 17 isn't available during this time period that I've picked. And then if you click on make reservation, it will add that data to the table. You'll then move on to this menu, which is what we've done here, and then there'll be an archive routine, and the archive routine, which there isn't a button for on this, but there is a button on the last file that you'll be using, which will be the file with the menu on it, with the archive routines on there. So you'll have a button on there that will link to the archive routine, and that will run 2 queries, one which will delete some reservations and one which will add those reservations to an archived table. So that's where we're going with this database, and the first thing you'll need to do is follow the tutorial for importing the data.